ASI, the Archaeological Survey of India, submitted a 2,000-page report in the Bhojshala complex case in Madhya Pradesh's Dhar. So that's another big talking point which is being spoken of, a disputed site on which the ASI conducted an in-depth survey. And now, in the latest, we're learning that proper survey was carried out over the period of 3 months, and a 2,000-page report has been submitted. There are several features that have now come to light, which in fact CNN News 18 has managed to access as well. Remember, the Hindu side has been contesting that here once stood a temple, and some of those historical signages of the temple in fact were removed, and that's when a mosque was constructed. That's come to the fore once again as far as this ASI report is concerned, which has now been submitted before the Madhya Pradesh High Court. And there are reactions coming in as well. With the Hindu side, several petitioners who've come out to speak in public domain, they say, though we will refrain from commenting on what this report entails, but it most certainly is a conclusive report. Listen in.
151 pages of operative report clearly pointing out that there existed a temple. If you could detail down those findings for us.
No, definitely I will not be going into the details of the finding as of now, but in gist I can tell you that ASI has given a very conclusive report that this premise was premise of a Hindu structure, Hindu temple. There was a pre-existing structure, and by no stretch of imagination it can be called as a mosque. And lot of Hindu idols and as you can say, scriptures have been found during the survey of 98 days. This report is running into 2,000 pages. The ASI has filed its report before the Indore bench today. So we'll be. I have mentioned the matter before the Honorable Supreme Court, requesting the matter to be listed urgently, so that the report, so that the stay order of 1st of April can be vacated.
This report actually goes on to point out that there were scriptures in Sanskrit, that too of the Parmar dynasty, and not only that, there were also in fact Ganesh idols. There were idols which were defaced to be used, because in Muslim language that they are not allowed to use scriptures of animals and the idols of animals. So do you think that this provides a Hindu side a very, very strong case when it comes to the occupation of this particular site?
And definitely we have, through the report of the ASI and the ASI survey, the 98-day survey which was conducted by the ASI, and after filing of this report, our case has become very strong. And it is not just a case which is dependent on assumptions and presumptions. This is a case by which of detailed scientific study we have proven to the hilt that this was a premise of a Hindu temple.
Let me go across to my colleague Ananya Bhatnagar joining us live. Ananya, we do know that the Hindu side for the longest time has been contending that here once stood a temple. Now that the ASI submitted this report, it's a 2,000-page report. It's been submitted to the Madhya Pradesh High Court. Take us through the key findings as has been accessed by CNN News 18, and also what happens next. What do we expect as far as the legal timeline here is concerned?
Well, definitely, it's a 2,000 plus pages of report running into 151 operative pages, wherein it clearly points out that the archaeological remains that have been found at that particular site belong to a pre-existing Hindu temple. A structure was demolished, and then this particular Muslim structure was actually made. The mizhab, or the western wall of this particular structure, has been rebuilt using long stone-like structures which had engravings of in fact Hindu idols, and including that of Lord Ganesha and various other Hindu deities. And not only this, what is also crucial to point out is that there are various Sanskrit scriptures that have emerged out at this particular site, which clearly suggests that this is a site that was built after raising, in fact, a site that existed during the Parmar dynasty era, and very categorically substantiates the Hindu side submission that this was a temple that was built by Raja Bhoj, and and it is stated in that particular report as well that this site, which was demolished and later a Muslim structure was built over it, was a point of cultural exchange. Apart from being a temple structure, it was a clear site that could show that it was a site where cultural and literary exchange used to take place, and was a very important site, is what in fact the ASI report goes on to suggest. So now what happens next is that the Supreme Court will have to hear this matter, because it has stayed in fact any kind of a proceeding before the Madhya Pradesh High Court. And unless that stays vacated, there can't be anything that could happen on this particular report that's been submitted by, in fact, the Archaeological Survey of India. So we'll have to be all eyes on the Supreme Court with regards to how it would deal with this particular report and how it will see the findings that have come out from this ASI survey. That continued for over 92 days.
Okay, began on the 22nd of March and lasted until 27th of June. So almost a 3-month comprehensive survey that was conducted by the Archaeological Survey of India. You know, we've heard ASI officials, of course, speak to the media and also talk about how there is a need to reach an amicable solution, as has been the case with regards to other disputed sites. Are there signs, Ananya, if we just talk about Bhojshala complex case, of an amicable solution, the possibility of the same given the reactions that have come in from the two sides or not?
Well, definitely, there might be an amicable solution to it. But what is very, very, important to, for our viewers to know is that this is not a case that coincides with Gyan Vyapi or with Ram Mandir or, in fact, with any other temple dispute going on. Because, here the bar of the Places of Worship Act is something that does not exist very clearly and categorically. Was a site that was, with the Archaeological Survey of India. And since the ASI Act applies on it, the Places of Worship Act or any kind of a bar under the Places of Worship Act does not apply to this particular site because it's an ASI protected monument. So very clearly and categorically at this juncture, what happens next only and only depends on the topmost court of the country.
Okay, all right. Remains to be seen how this plays out legally. But like we've been discussing, the Hindu side has now cited this particular evidence. And they say that whatever we were trying to point out in front of the court stands validated today, citing the evidence that the ASI has managed to collect through the course of the survey conducted the last 3 months. So let's hear into their version. I'll come back to you, Ananya.
वर्षों से हिंदू समाज को जिस दिन की अपेक्षा थी, सनातनियों को जिस दिन की अपेक्षा थी, आज का सूर्योदय वह दिन लेकर आया है। आज माननीय हाईकोर्ट में हिंदू फ्रंट फॉर जस्टिस की याचिका पर हुए सर्वे पर भारतीय पुरातत्व सर्वेक्षण विभाग ने अपनी रिपोर्ट पेश की है। तो हमें पूरी उम्मीद है कि जिन मांगों को लेकर हम माननीय हाईकोर्ट में गए हैं कि हिंदू समाज का पूर्ण आधिपत्य भोजशाला पर हो, वहां पर नमाज बंद हो, मां वाग देवी की प्रतिमा लंदन से लाकर गर्भगृह में स्थापित की जाए, 24 घंटे 365 दिन हिंदू समाज को बिना किसी रोक टोक के, बिना किसी प्रतिबंध के वहां पूजा अर्चना का अधिकार मिले, ये सारे रास्ते साफ होंगे इस रिपोर्ट से।
Let's quickly shift our attention now to another legal battle that is likely to be witnessed the next few days. This with regards to the latest resolution that's been moved by AIMPLB. Now, they have contended the recent Supreme Court judgment on maintenance of Muslim divorced women and say that this particular judgment, the verdict from the top court, was against the Islamic law. The board also authorized its president to initiate all possible measures to ensure that this decision is rolled back and asserted that it doesn't augur well with human reasoning that a man is held responsible to maintain his ex-wives when the marriage itself is non-existent. And this most naturally has triggered a political war of words as well. But before we talk about that, hear into the various reactions that have come in from women of the Muslim community.
आप बताइए क्या राय है आपकी? सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने फैसला किया है कि मुस्लिम महिलाओं को गुजारा भत्ता मिलना चाहिए।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो भी फैसला किया है बहुत अच्छा किया है, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ जो मुसलमान औरतें हैं और उनको जो गुजारा भत्ता मिलने लगेगा तो उनका अपना खर्चा बहुत अच्छे से होने लगेगा और अपने माँ बाप पे जो शादी के बाद निर्भर रहती है वो भी नहीं रहेगा।
इस फैसले को कैसा मानती है?
बहुत सही मानते हैं फैसला।
बहुत अच्छा है ये कि मोहताजी वाला काम खत्म हो गया, एक तरह मेरे आ गया आज पहला, तो उससे तो कोई बढ़िया हो गई है कि बढ़िया मिले लगी है, 4 पैसा मिले, हम परेशानी हमारी ख़त्म हुई है। अब गवर्नमेंट बहुत अच्छा काम की है, सरकार
बहुत अच्छा लिया है कि मतलब कोई गरीब है उसके पास नहीं है तो कम से कम अदालत ने फैसला लिया तो अच्छा है कि मतलब उसका खर्चा।
क्या फ़ायदा मिलेगा?
इससे फ़ायदा बहुत कुछ मिलेगा कि मतलब वो फ़ायदा देंगे तो फ़ायदा मिलेगा,
बेटियों को फ़ायदा मिलेगा।
हाँ, बेटियों को फ़ायदा मिलेगा। माँ बाप के पास नहीं है, इतना गरीब है तो कम से कम बेटियों के लिए हो तो जाएगा।
आप लगातार मुस्लिम महिलाओं के लिए काम करते रहेंगे। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो फैसला तलाकशुदा महिलाओं के लिए आया, अब ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड बोल रहा है कि इस फैसले को वो बदलवाएगा, कानूनी लड़ाई लड़ेगा। आप इसको कैसे देख रही है?
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो मैं शुक्रगुजार हूँ सुप्रीम कोर्ट की कि इतना बड़ा फैसला दिया औरतों के हक में, लेकिन उसी के साथ साथ अफसोस होता है कि जो मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड है उसको खुद में रिफॉर्म करने की ज़रूरत है। अब वो पलटवाने की बात कह के तो पूरे समाज में मुस्लिम जो इस्लाम है उसको वो आप किसी न किसी तरह से नीचा दिखाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि इस्लाम में औरतों के लिए जितनी बातें कही गई हैं, इन औरतों ने एक एनजीओ ही तो है ये मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड, एक एनजीओ के तहत वो कानून पलटवाने की बात कह कर के क्या बताना चाहते हैं।
ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंचता है तो तलाकशुदा महिलाएं भी पहुंचेंगी क्या सुप्रीम कोर्ट?
देखिए, जाहिर सी बात है, जो औरत कोर्ट में पहुंची है केस लेकर के, तो वो इसकी पलटवार भी जवाब देगी, क्योंकि उसको तो संरक्षण मिल रहा है। तो अगर उसका संरक्षण छीना जाएगा जिससे उसकी आस लगी हुई थी कि हमारा गुजारा हो सकता है, तो वो क्यों नहीं जाएगी भाई? अब हमारे देश का कानून तो सबके लिए है, अगर वो जा सकते हैं तो तलाकशुदा औरतें भी जा सकती हैं।
Let me go across to Ananya, who continues to stay on with us. Ananya, I want to quote one of the lines as has been mentioned in the resolution passed by the Muslim board. It says this judgment will create further problems to the women who have successfully come out of their painful relationship. But legally speaking, point out for our viewers, what kind of challenges is the Muslim board trying to pose as far as the Supreme Court judgment is concerned?
Definitely, it's the Supreme Court judgment, held by a division bench of the Supreme Court very well, substantiates that Section 125 of the Code of Criminal Procedure or the CRPC is something that can be accessed by any woman, irrespective of her religion, irrespective of her marital status, in fact. And very clearly, this gives this is a very, very progressive move that came in from the Supreme Court. While the All India Muslim Personal Law Board is somebody who, wants to go back to that regression. And in fact, this has been stated by the Muslim women as well, that, the All India Muslim Personal Law Board doesn't want the Muslim women to actually go ahead and go towards the progressive side. But they are trying to pull back these women. And that's the reason why, in fact, these women will protest any kind of a petition before the Supreme Court, if at all the AIMPLB, goes on to file any kind of a legal petition before, in fact, the Supreme Court. And very clearly and categorically, we have to understand at last what happens is that the beneficiary of this judgment is the Muslim women, or not only Muslim women, but women in general. And if at all the AIMPLB comes up, files a petition before the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court would be considering the side of these women first. It will be seeing that, the effect of this judgment comes on those women. And in fact, such a progressive judgment is liable to not be said. Though the big contention that comes up with the AIMPLB is that, a secular law has prevailed over a particular religious law, which the Muslim women call regressive, and hence, were wanting to have such a access to the Section 125 of the CRPC, which the Supreme Court has now granted. All of this help from the Shah Bano case traveled through various judgments.
We'll talk about that in
judgment.
just a bit. Ananya, stay on with us. We'll talk about, how this case, or rather the hearing or the verdict that came in from the court is a departure in itself from the Shah Bano case, in continuity, of course. And, what really Section 125 entails, the big verdict that came in a little while earlier from the top court last Wednesday. But before that, let's hear into the AIMPLB and the version as is being put out by several spokespersons. Listen in.
ये जो जजमेंट है वो औरतों के मफाद में या औरतों की भलाई के लिए किया गया है। हमारा मानना ये है कि अगर आप रिश्तों पे, शादी ब्याह के मामलात पे अगर गौर करेंगे तो आप महसूस करेंगे ये इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ विमेन नहीं है। इसलिए कि अगर कोई आदमी शादी के बाद या तलाक के बाद भी अगर उसे ज़िंदगी भर मेंटेनेंस देना है तो वो तलाक क्यों देगा? और फिर रिश्ते में जो तलखी पैदा हो गई है, जो बदमज़गी पैदा हो गई है, वो कंटिन्यू करेगी, तो उसका सफ़र कौन होगा? हमने ये बात कही है कि मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड की वर्किंग कमेटी ने प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ बोर्ड को ये अथॉरिटी दी है कि वो लीगल कमेटी से कंसल्ट करके इस कानून को, इस फैसले को कैसे रोल बैक किया जा सकता है, इस पर काम करें।
Going across to Ananya once again. Ananya, the Supreme Court last Wednesday made it very clear that women who've been divorced by pronouncing triple talaq will also be entitled to maintenance under Section 125, and really, got to the depth of what Section 125 entails and why it is applicable to all women, married, unmarried, and irrespective of their religion. That said, how are we expecting the AIMPLB to challenge this legally further? Are they planning on weighing in on other legal options as well, apart from having moved this resolution?
Well, definitely, they are planning to move a special leave petition before the Supreme Court of India, and very categorically, what used to happen was that Section 125 of the CRPC is a secular law. It's the Code of Criminal Procedure. It applies to every citizen of the country, and that's exactly why the Supreme Court held that it is applicable to Muslim women as well, because it is a universal law. Aspect of how maintenance can be granted to any kind of a woman, and very clearly and categorically, though, in fact, these women go on to a woman approached the Karnataka High Court, the Telangana High Court, and then the matter reached the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court held that irrespective of religion, irrespective of marital status, every woman is entitled for maintenance under, in fact, the Section 125 of the CRPC, which the AIMPLB protests, saying that a secular law cannot override a religious law, cannot override the Sharia in particular. So very clearly, how much of it does it weigh up before the Supreme Court is something that we'll have to wait and watch for.
Got very clearly of the opinion that it's going to be secular law over personal laws, and that's what's being reiterated by some political parties as well. Like, we began by saying this has indeed triggered another political war of words, and the BJP is now gunning for the Muslim board. They're saying that the nation is going to run as per the constitution and not as per Sharia. So let's quickly play out more reactions coming in.
संविधान और शरीयत में टकराव पैदा करने की किसी को कोशिश नहीं करनी चाहिए। मुल्क जो है वो संविधान से चलेगा, मजहब आप शरीयत से चलाइए, इसमें कहीं कोई टकराव नहीं, कोई बिखराव नहीं, कोई विरोधाभास नहीं है। लेकिन कुछ लोगों की आदत है कि वो हर सुधार पर, हर संवैधानिक सुधार पर सांप्रदायिक वार करने की कोशिश करते हैं, और उसके कोशिश के पीछे उनकी मकसद और मंशा होती है कि कौम की तरक्की पर, तालीम पर तालिबानी ताला जड़ो। और इस बात को समझना चाहिए कि मुल्क जो है वो संविधान से चलेगा, आप मजहब से जो है वो शरीयत से चलाइए, किसी ने नहीं मना किया है। जिस तरह का आप टकराव और बिखराव पैदा करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं वो ठीक नहीं है।
मैंने पहले भी कहा है, जिस दिन ये फैसला आया था तो राय मेरी बदलेगी नहीं। उस दिन भी मैंने कहा था कि कई चीज़ें ऐसी होती हैं जब कोई भी धर्म हो उसको लैंगिक न्याय के दृष्टिकोण से चीज़ों को देखना होगा, और इस दृष्टिकोण में किंतु परंतु की गुंजाइश नहीं होनी चाहिए। मेरा अभी भी भरोसा है कि कमोबेश जल्दी ही ये चीज़ें रिजॉल्व हो जाएंगी।
भारत संविधान एवं कानून के अनुसार चलता है। देश की बेटियां हर क्षेत्र में सुरक्षा का दायित्व देश का है। एक तरफ भाजपा के नेतृत्व श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार पंचायत से लेकर सदन तक 33% महिला आरक्षण दे रही है, उनको सत्ता में आने का रास्ता बना रही है, एम्पावर्ड कर रही है। और हमें गर्व है कि आज भारत की राष्ट्रपति एक एसटी बेटी महामहिम बनी है। ये देश के करोड़ों नागरिकों के लिए गौरव की बात है, पर पता नहीं क्यों कुछ लोग भारत को वापस पाषाण युग में ले जाना चाहते हैं।
मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड ने माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय से अगर कोई गुहार लगाई है, कोई बात कही है, तो ये तो अब उनके लॉ में क्या है, माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय का फैसला, तो ये माननीय न्यायालय इस सारे चीज़ों को देखेगा। इसके बाद जो है माननीय न्यायालय, हम समझते हैं कि उनके मांग पर विचार करेगा।
हिंदुस्तान की कोई भी बॉडी या कोई भी इंडिविजुअल हो, उसे संविधान सम्मत तरीके से सुप्रीम कोर्ट में या कोर्ट में जाने का हक है, और अपने हक का इस्तेमाल करते हुए कोई भी किसी भी फैसले के विरुद्ध न्यायालय जाए, ये उसकी अपनी इच्छा है, ये संविधान उसको इजाज़त देता है। बाकी जो संविधान फैसला करेगा वो फैसला हर हिंदुस्तान का नागरिक मानने के लिए तैयार रहना चाहिए। सच बात ये है कि हर हिंदुस्तानी को सुप्रीम कोर्ट का और संविधान का सम्मान करना होगा।
मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड में जो निर्णय हुए हैं या जो उन्होंने फैसले किए हैं, उस पर मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड के लोग ही बयान देने का काम करेंगे।
हर एक संस्था को सर्वोच्च न्यायालय में अपील करने का अधिकार है और महत्वपूर्ण विषय यह है कि इस देश के अंदर डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर का संविधान है। सबकी धार्मिक परंपराओं का सम्मान किया जाना भी आवश्यक है। ऐसी स्थिति में माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय तो सर्वोच्च निकाय है, तो स्वाभाविक रूप से अगर कोई मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड ने फैसला लिया है तो ये उनका फैसला है और सबके अधिकार और सबके सम्मान का और धार्मिक परंपराओं का देश में जो विविधता में एकता है इसको दृष्टिगत रख करके ही निर्णय लिया जाना आवश्यक।
And now shifting our attention to the ongoing investigations in the NEET UG 2024 examinations. Now remember, the CBI in the latest has already submitted its findings to the top court in a sealed envelope. But what's interesting is that as per highly placed sources in the agency, CNN News 18 is now learning that the extent of the leak was limited and the report to the top court shall reflect the same. It's interesting that the CBI, as per sources, has told Network 18, which is now, remember, probing the alleged irregularities in the entrance examination, that the detailed report speaks of the limited leak and it is going to be reflected the next time the top court takes this up, which is on the 18th of June, says we have 100% definitive information about what happened and the extent of the leak. In fact, interestingly, the agency, as per sources, has also said that we'll submit the list of beneficiaries on the 17th of July when the next hearing takes place. They also say they're very, very close to coming out with the final word on what really the investigations are revealing and what really the truth is. But let me go across to Sharon joining us once again with the latest. Sharon, you've been tracking this investigation very closely. Tell us a little bit about the stated position of the CBI, what we're learning and what are we to expect on the 17th. As per sources, they're going to be making all of these big, admissions before the top court on the 17th.
Well, on 11th of July was when the hearing took place, and 10th of July is when the CBI submitted their status report in a sealed envelope. And CNN News 18 has in fact accessed the exclusive information, which in fact states that the number of people who were involved in the paper leak is very less than 100 students altogether, and it is not going to impact the majority of the students who appeared for the NEET examination. The status report also states that as far as the paper leak is concerned, it is not a widespread paper leak and it is very region specific when we talk about Bihar and Godhra. And in some cases, the CBI investigation has shown that in some cases it is more of like a scam, where some scamsters told some of the students who asked for a question paper that they will be provided with a question paper, but ultimately they were never given a question paper. Secondly, there are also invigilators in the exam centers who were seen helping the students who were caught red-handed. Overall, what the CBI in their report is stating is that the widespread is not that much. And as far as the systematic failure, which is the allegation that is coming in from the opposition, it doesn't seem to be a systematic failure because it is not an organized gang or nexus who are involved in the paper leak. Now, this status report has been submitted to the Supreme Court on 10th of July, and the next hearing is on 18th July. All eyes are on the ethics court, whether a re-examination of the NEET examination will be declared by the Supreme Court or not.
Okay, and whatever explanation, the remaining explanation that was sought from the Supreme Court in the last hearing is also going to be provided on the 17th before the matter is taken up on the 18th. But interestingly, like you rightly pointed out, Sherin, the agency sources in the agency, of course, telling us that all of those claims about a systemic failure as far as the examination is concerned were all part of a larger conspiracy as per the agency. Thank you for joining us with the latest. Heading into a very short break for now. We'll be right back. Keep watching.
How we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. There is no place in America for this kind of violence or for any violence ever. Period. No exceptions. We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. Disagreement is inevitable in American democracy. It's part of human nature. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, or God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. We stand for an America, not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace. I'll continue to speak out strongly for our democracy, stand up for our Constitution and the rule of law, to call for action at the ballot box, no violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates, the records, the issues, the agenda, the vision for America. But in America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to think about it. What's made America so special? Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect, and hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree, where misinformation is rampant, where foreign actors fan the flames of our division to shape the outcomes consistent with their interests, not ours. Let's remember, here in America, all you...
Welcome back. We return with the latest we're tracking in the aftermath of the attack that took place on former President Donald Trump yesterday in Pennsylvania. There are several aspects to this big story we've been tracking the last so many hours. One is, of course, the investigations. Remember, the FBI has revealed that the shooter behind the attack is a 20-year-old man named Thomas Crooks. Though the motive of the attack is still not clear. The FBI has not revealed more information with regards to that. Parallelly, all eyes are now on the Republican National Convention. Why? Because this is the first time after the attack that Donald Trump will be addressing his supporters and his colleagues for the first time in public domain. And one is waiting and watching for what kind of gestures will he send out and what this really means for the Biden camp. Interestingly, President Joe Biden has also come out to react in the latest. Remember, both the leaders have been sending out a message of unity the last 24 hours. That's what we've seen optics-wise. So high on visual messaging. But as far as Joe Biden is concerned, he's also said that there can be political differences, but this cannot turn into a literal battlefield. Let's hear it from the president first up, and then we'll go across to our reporters for more details.
You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. I've said it many times that the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come. I believe that with all my soul. Politics must never be a literal battlefield, or God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. I'll continue to speak out strongly for our democracy, stand up for our Constitution and the rule of law, to call for action at the ballot box, no violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work.
This is a national special security event. That designation is the highest level of security designation that the federal government can determine. So we are confident in these security plans that are in place for this event, and we're ready to go. It's been an 18-month process. We've worked together over that 18 months to develop operational security plans for any and all aspects of security related to this event.
כולנו צפינו בזעזוע אתמול לניסיון ההתנקשות הנפשע בנשיא לשעבר דונלד טראמפ, מועמד לנשיאות בארצות הברית. זה לא רק פשע נפשע, זה גם ניסיון להתנקש בדמוקרטיה האמריקנית. לשמחתנו טראמפ ניצל בנס, הוא מחלים עכשיו, נראה שהוא חזר לאיתנו. אני מבקש לשלוח לו בשמי, בשם רעייתי שרה, בשם שרי ממשלת ישראל, ובשם עם ישראל כולו, תיחולנו להחלמה מהירה וחזרה לאיתנות מלאה.
Замах на життя Дональда Трампа.
An assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, a terrible crime that can only be condemned and which demonstrates how serious the challenges to democracy are globally. Violence in any form and anywhere must absolutely not prevail. I am confident America will rise to the challenge. I wish Mr. Trump a speedy recovery, strength, and support to all those who have been affected.
Ian, Republican convention, the next big thing coming up. What do you think happens there, and who does Trump pick as his vice president? Does this change anything?
It changes a lot in the sense that Donald Trump is going to appear in Milwaukee like Lazarus, right? I mean, this has already been a cult of Trump individually. He has such strong charisma with the MAGA faithful that is going to get far stronger on the back of this. And if he is changing his mind or rethinking it all, and Lord knows I don't have any intelligence on that, I would say he's more likely to pick someone who is really aligned with that message. The single person I've seen that has most strongly resonated with that since the assassination attempt would be J.D. Vance.
And what does it mean for Biden and that talk about him stepping down?
I think the Democrats are going to rally around the president. I think we're going to hear much less about him stepping down. I think Democrats are going to see this as a moment when more discord is unpleasant and unnecessary. And I also think they understand that the political challenge they face is enormous, and they need to face it as a united party. They want the White House and they want the House.
But as I said, when we look historically, there are few clues here, but Trump probably benefits from this.
Well, I'm quite certain Trump. Yeah. I mean, he didn't benefit as a human being, but as a political figure, he's a juggernaut now. I think there will be a lot of people who will see in his reaction to yesterday's assassination attempt a strength that they admire and they want to rally to.
When you talked about this, when we started about the world, how do you think the world is looking at all this? Because I'm always struck by, when I talk to people around the world, they always say the U.S. economy is doing amazingly. Your technology companies rule the world. The dollar is the supreme currency, but your political system seems so screwed up, and you seem so paralyzed and polarized.
Small point and a big point. Small point is that this election had been Biden's to lose, and he looked likely to. It is now Trump's to win. And I think that countries around the world now recognize that Trump is the likely next president. Most American allies are deeply discomfited about that, and they're preparing for it. Most American adversaries see great opportunity in that. But there's a bigger point. And the bigger point is that the United States no longer has a political system that any country around the world admires. They admire the dollar. They admire the U.S. economy. They admire U.S. innovation and entrepreneurship. No one admires America's political system. That is a deep concern, a generational concern for leaders around the world that rely on the United States, where the global order requires a strong and stable U.S. Even the Chinese don't want the Americans falling apart. They need the political system to be stable in the Middle East and Russia, Ukraine, and all of that. This is a very, very worrying time for all the leaders that you and I talk to.
Let me go across to Siddhant Mishra joining us with more. Siddhant, it's very interesting, the narrative that is being spun around by both the camps. Interestingly, it seems as though Donald Trump is also trying to send feelers to the Biden administration and the Biden camp in its entirety by saying that the speech that he's going to deliver, when the Republican National Convention goes underway is going to be a different one. How do we decode the optics surrounding, this entire political game ever since Donald Trump was attacked yesterday?
Well, look, what's going on in Donald Trump's mind was very much visible from the time he was popping fit after getting attacked. Perhaps that talks about Donald Trump, his personality. Now, today, what we are getting to know, in fact, is reporting that Trump has said that he will give a whole different speech. Now, what's that whole different speech is going to be? What all issues the speech is going to cover? What will he say on the attack that took place? What are going to be his fresh allegations against the dispensation? Is something which we all are looking for. Now, remember, Biden is playing defensive at this point in time. Biden is saying that it's important to lower the political temperature. Biden is talking about unity. Biden is talking about brotherhood. Biden is talking about, one America. Now, in these times when U.S. is witnessing highly polarized elections, Biden is talking about unity, coming together. And remember, we all are Americans first. Such kind of statements are coming from President Biden. It would really be interesting to see that how Trump is going to counter that, how Trump is going to sort of build narrative out of what happened in Pennsylvania. That would really be interesting to see. And this would be for the first time that Trump would return to the state, which could come earlier in the week. And his rhetoric at the podium will set the tone both for the final months of the presidential campaign and the near-term future of American politics. In fact, Trump has so far been trained in response to the attempt on his life. Other members of his party have not, with some immediate suggesting without evidence that the alleged gunman was driven to act by a heated campaign rhetoric. Now, some reports suggest that Trump has not spoken on it. Neither of his, senior colleagues have spoken on this entire issue. So for the first time, spotlight is going to be on the Republican National Convention. And when Donald Trump will speak, and as he has already hinted, it's going to be the all different speech. So all eyes are going to be on Donald Trump's speech at RNC.
Okay, all eyes on Donald Trump's speech. There's no change. Everything is as per plan, and as has been spoken of by Donald Trump himself, that it's not going to affect his schedule. But yes, there is going to be a change in the security apparatus, the kind of security that will be provided to Donald Trump. We're picking up, I believe, the first reaction from the Director of Secret Service as well. But before we decode that and put out the details for our viewers, here are more reactions coming in.
Well, it's really interesting. I was just a few feet away from him, along with my daughter, who is a photojournalist. And he was aware of that because I was supposed to fly to Bedminster with him after the rally to do an interview with him. And so he called me this morning or this afternoon and said, and wanted to know if myself and my daughter were okay. So that's how the conversation started. And then I asked him if I could interview him, just talk to him about those moments and about how this changed him. And that's when he said, well, I was going to do a speech that was going to be a real humdinger. I think those were his exact words. But, everything changed in that moment. And Abby, you have covered his events before. When you watch him at a rally, he always looks forward. Always looks forward. He never looks to his right or to his left. And he had put a screen up that showed a chart. Also never does charts. And he looked to his right, something he never does. And as he looked to his right, the bullet grazed right past his face. And I was standing right there when it happened.
Like I said, another statement that's coming from the Director of Secret Service on what happened yesterday when Donald Trump was first attacked and what are the kind of security preparations that have been made available for him in the aftermath of the attack. So the statement goes like this, and I caught some of the important excerpts. The Director of Secret Service first begins by saying that she would like to extend her condolences to the family and friends of Corey, who was killed during the assassination attempt. This is one of the people in the audiences. Also speaks of how the Secret Service personnel on the ground moved quickly during the incident with the counter-sniper team neutralizing the shooter, the agents implementing protective measures to ensure the safety of former President Donald Trump, and interestingly has spoken of the kind of security that's going to be provided to Donald Trump during the Republican National Convention as well. Let me go across to Siddhant, who's going to try and highlight some of those important portions of the statement that's coming from the Director of Secret Service. Siddhant, have we heard from the Secret Service on the security parameter? It found a mention in the first statement that came in from the agency, but they were not really taking responsibility. They said that the building from where the shooter in fact took an aim shot at the president was outside of the security parameter, and I believe they've not quite broken their silence or explained the same still.
Well, look, it's a long statement that has been released by Kimby Seattle, the U.S. Secret Service Director. In fact, he briefed President Biden on the entire situation. So it's kind of, he started by expressing condolences to the family of the one spectator who died. And in fact, he also went on to say that that Secret Service personnel moved on very quickly on ground. In fact, the counter-sniper teams neutralized the shooter, and then the Secret Service agents implemented protective measures to ensure the safety of Donald Trump. He also appreciates his team's efforts to keep the entire crime scene team's integrity maintained till the FBI teams arrive, so that fair investigation can take place in the matter. He also says that the Secret Service is tasked with the tremendous responsibility of protecting the current and former leaders of democracy. And I take my work I'm committed to fulfilling that mission. Now, look, this statement is more of describing the sequence of events and also perhaps to prove that how committed Secret Service is and the Director of Secret Service. But the point is that the Secret Service is also under scrutiny, given there are a lot of lapses that have been found prima facie in terms of the periphery area, the outer periphery which was not secured. How could somebody climb the rooftop? That is also not, there's no proper reply for that as well. Now, Secret Service is putting blame on the local law enforcement authorities that it was their job. So the blame game has started. There are some loopholes prima facie which suggest that Secret Service didn't acted on time, or perhaps they were less tactical equipment with them to keep Donald Trump protected. But that would come up in the later course of investigation. But right now, this is the statement that the Director of Secret Service have put out for the first time, expressing condolences and also talking about how proactively Secret Service rescued, sort of rushed off Donald Trump to the car safely, how their teams managed to neutralize.
And given, the threats received or rather faced by him yesterday, and he was almost shot at, it could have been extremely fatal. All of that being considered, there are going to be changes that are going to be made as far as security protocol around Donald Trump is concerned. But Siddhant, thank you for joining us and detailing that for viewers this evening. We quickly shift our attention now to the state of Karnataka. Remember, several questions have been asked on whether or not the Congress government is facing a financial crisis. There's a fund crunch staring at the Congress government, and also questions over why we are seeing a hike in petrol and diesel prices as well in Karnataka. Whether all of this is being done to fund the poll guarantees in the run-up to the assembly elections. Now, in the latest, we're learning that the Congress is also mulling over hiking state bus tariffs. And given this, we've seen another political war of words erupt, with the BJP raising some pertinent questions. Now, why this controversy came to the fore is that a Congress MLA himself spoke of how the state is incurring losses, the KSRTC is incurring losses given the Shakti scheme and its implementation, and hence this decision is being looked at. Though Ramalinga Reddy of the Congress has come out to refute all of those reports, he says none of this is true. These are just rumors being peddled against the Congress government. Listen in.
We have 4 corporations, KSRTC, BMTC, Vayuya and Kalyana Karnataka. So far I have not received any proposal from 4 corporations. Let them send their proposal, then I will think.
It's an empowerment scheme. It's a welfare scheme. Welfare scheme से profit नहीं आता है. Other resources से profit आता है. Other revenue से profit आता है. Anybody who knows a little bit of economics will know this. So अभी गरीब कल्याण योजना चल रहा है प्रधानमंत्री का, वो भी घाटे में चल रहा है, तो बंद कर दो उसको भी. प्रॉब्लम क्या है? 9 लाख करोड़ केंद्र सरकार वेलफेयर स्कीम्स में खर्च कर रही है. वो फायदे के लिए कर रहे हैं कि घाटे के लिए कर रहे हैं? बंद कर दो वो भी.
Let's now quickly shift our attention to breaking news coming in from West Bengal. It's a big development that has taken place in the state. Rajiv Kumar has been brought back as the DG of West Bengal. Remember, he was earlier removed by the Election Commission, but this most certainly is big. It was Gyanesh Kumar who succeeded Rajiv Kumar as the Chief Election Commissioner, along with Sukhbir Singh Sandhu in the Election Commission of India. And big news coming in from West Bengal with Rajiv Kumar being brought back as the DG of Bengal. To understand the political repercussions of the same and what really went behind in this decision that we are learning of in the latest, let me take in a word from Kamalika joining us with more details. What more do we know, Kamalika?
Rajiv Kumar has been brought back as the DG of Bengal. He was appointed as the DG just before the elections, after the Manoj Malviya, the earlier DG, retired. Now we know that Rajiv Kumar is said to be, that is the opposition allegation, is very close to the TMC. That's what the opposition allegation is. But the fact is that when Rajiv Kumar took over the charge, after that, when election model code of conduct started after the Lok Sabha poll declaration, immediately Rajiv Kumar was removed from the post of DG. There were obviously the Trinamool stated at that point of time that it was the BJP who actually initiated, and they actually, it was because of BJP that Rajiv Kumar was removed. But interestingly, today, as the moral code of conduct for the by-poll ended on Saturday, today is a Monday, and right now what information we are getting is Rajiv Kumar now back as DG of Bengal, and as our sources are telling us that tomorrow he is going to take charge as a DG of Bengal.
Okay, big shot in the arm for Rajiv Kumar after the Election Commission removing him as the DG of Bengal. He's been reinstated is what we're learning. This most certainly will have political consequences as well, because the BJP is going to be up in arms in no times given this announcement coming in from the state. Thank you, Kamalika, for joining us with the latest. A quick break for now. We'll be right back with more.
Elusive of goals right now. Nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Good afternoon. Last night, I spoke with Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering, and we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed. He was a father. He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired, and he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence, or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its early stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I urge everyone, please, don't make assumptions about his motives or his affiliations. Let the FBI do their job and their partner agencies do their job. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done.
Welcome back. As the grand Ambani wedding celebrations concluded, what we saw in Mumbai yesterday was a star-studded reception ceremony, which was attended by the big wigs, not just of Bollywood, but across the world. We saw several celebrities in attendance. The grand event took place at Geo World Convention Center. Like I said, was attended by several prominent names from across the world. Chairperson and founder of Reliance Foundation, Neeta Ambani, invited media personnel as well to be part of the celebrations, as well as took the opportunity to thank them for being a part of the wedding celebrations. So without much ado, let's quickly take you through some of the key highlights and the biggest talking points of the wedding of the year.
And you became a part of our celebration. Thank you for your patience and understanding. और कुछ भी भूल हो गई हो, ये शादी का घर है तो इसीलिए माफ कर देना. I hope you are all well looked after. And आपको कल से invite मिल चुका होगा, तो आप कल हमारे मेहमान बन के आना है. And we will look after you. So we look forward to having you and welcoming you all tomorrow with your family. Thank you so much. Dhanyawad. Shukriya once again.
Thank you.
Ambani and Radhika Merchant's Lagna Vidhi ceremony is a night we'll remember for months to come. And we're not just talking about the grandeur and opulence of the whole function, but these moments right here will be remembered. Desi girl Priyanka Chopra joined us, heating up the dance floor with her oh so good moves with hubby Nick Jonas, Isha and Akash Ambani. Megastar Rajnikant busting some moves and getting the party started. King Khan SRK pulling his wife close as they posed for the photo ops. Salman Khan being the superstar even in a sea of superstars, with guests rushing to see him. Deepika Padukone making a royal entry in a stunning red anarkali suit. DP greeting Rajnikant and his family. And of course Ranveer Singh being Ranveer Singh. We're starstruck. What about you guys?
Radhika Merchant's traditional Gujarati bride look was just magical. The choti bahu of the Ambani Parivar looked ethereal, and we are in awe. For her wedding with Anant Ambani, Radhika wore a custom Abu Jani Sandeep Khosla ensemble that exuded royal vibes. Her attire was an intricate interpretation of Panetar, the Gujarati tradition of brides wearing red and white. The ivory Zardozi cutwork bridal ensemble consisted of a trailing ghagra layered with a second detachable trail, a 5-meter head veil and a tissue shoulder dupatta. The ghagra glittered with 3 borders of red, with the finest amalgamation of Nakshi, Sadi and Zardozi symmetrically hand-embroidered in intricate floral booties that were lavishly decorated with stones, sequins, tamba tikkis and a touch of red resham. The head veil featured a delicate jali and cutwork, while the detachable trail was a Zardozi marvel of 80 inches. The outfit was rounded off with a fully embroidered red shoulder dupatta that uplifted the silhouette with its maximal drama. Radhika wore her Nani and mother's heritage jewellery with her bridal attire, which was earlier worn by her elder sister Anjali for her wedding. Moving on to her Vidai look, designed by Manish Malhotra. The color palette of this look featured different shades of red, yellow and gold. A tribute to India's timeless elegance, her lehenga featured multi-panelled Banarsi brocade in sunset hues. The exquisite blouse consisted of real gold karchobi work inspired by the traditional abho and the rich textile heritage of Kutch, Gujarat, echoing the artistry of the late 19th century. A veil with a lattice design on a beautiful shade of red completed the attire along with a Banarsi dupatta. Well, Radhika Merchant was the perfect embodiment of a true Indian bride. What do you think of her looks? Another day, another sleigh. That's the only way we can explain the ensembles of the fashionistas of the Ambani family for Anant and Radhika's blessing ceremony. We were eagerly waiting to see Isha Ambani's next fashion move. And there she was, looking like a Maharani in an elegant ivory lehenga and the most mind-blowing necklace with multiple chunky stones. Then we immediately noticed her diamond kamarband, bangles and yellow diamond ring. She looked so elegant with the pulled back hair. Neeta Ambani continued her streak with pretty pastels and chose a pink-toned ghagra set for the evening. She decked up with diamonds and emeralds from top to bottom and we just can't stop looking at her. Shloka Mehta mixed and matched different fabrics and materials for the occasion, resulting in this fabulous, edgy yet traditional look. She went for this stunning archival Manish Malhotra ensemble that included a contrasting skirt and top paired with a sleeveless long shrug secured with a fabric belt. She wore diamond accessories and went for an open hairstyle. Just enchanting. Now coming to the most anticipated look of the evening, the new Mrs. Radhika Ambani. Radhika wore a custom Abu Jani Sandeep Khosla masterpiece made in collaboration with Indian artist and sculptor Jayashree Burman. The lehenga featured spellbinding detailing that made this piece unique. Radhika Merchant's first evening as Mrs. Radhika Ambani was all kinds of special for so many reasons. To celebrate their union and share their joy, The newlyweds families hosted a grand Shubh Ashirwad ceremony at the Geo World Convention Center. Like all their other festivities, this event too attracted stars from Bollywood, business and sports. But you already know that. We actually wanted to talk about Radhika's super special attire. It was a result of a unique collaboration between Abujani Sandeep Khosla and contemporary Indian artist and sculptor Jayashree Burman. To bring the artist's painting to life, the lehenga's 12 panels were hand-painted on a special Italian canvas. The lehenga featured the artist's quintessential mythical aesthetic, which also celebrated Anand's union with Radhika through special imageries. Then there is the fauna on the lehenga, which depicted Anand's fondness for animals. The craftsmanship also featured meticulous hand embroidery of real gold Zardozi. Radhika Merchant's aesthetic is truly special.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta, and we're joining you live from CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio. It's deja vu again for Muslim women and India at large. As the self-appointed custodian of Muslim rights in India, the All India Muslim Personal Law Board has decided to challenge the recent Supreme Court verdict in favor of a Muslim woman's right to invoke Section 100